My name is David Miller. My friends, since I've been 15 years old, called me Shorty. I'm 4 foot tall, grew up in an Amish family, and something that I deeply enjoy doing is helping others and fishing. Life before my injury was basically a racetrack. I went to work, came home, and I was on the fly. I didn't have 5 minutes to wait for myself or anyone else. So for me, after the injury, the biggest thing was patience, to be able to wait on myself and other people. It really showed me more perspective in life, as far as there's more to life than just running around crazy and thinking you have to be at a place at a certain time. Being different growing up, obviously in an Amish family, and then also being a dwarf, only 4 foot tall. Obviously, I got a lot of attention, and I played off of that. And so for me, I was always the center of attention. I always stood out of the crowd. And if I wasn't, I tried to make myself the center of attention. And after my injury, I kind of tried to hide and stay away from all that. Before my accident, 5 years, went from travel from state to state, went to fair as a showman and dressed up as the world's smallest cowboy and all that stuff. So attention really was one of the greatest things I thought I had out there until, I fell, and it's like, so now everybody's looking at me because I'm in a wheelchair. But now, 17 years later, I look at it, the wheelchair is just part of me, and people look at me and I don't even see them. I'm just like, I'm straight, whatever. It's your problem. You look at it. If you don't like it, you have questions, ask me. I'll explain whatever I can. So my injury occurred January 13th of 2004. The age that I was when I was injured was 27. I was helping my brothers re-roofing, just, a side job. I slipped and fell 15 feet, crushed my L1 vertebrae. I landed on my feet, and obviously my legs went numb, and they took me to the hospital. And, after a month in there in the rehab center, figuring out what's going on. Well, my first initial thoughts, laying in bed, after my surgery, 2 days after my surgery, I remember like it was yesterday. Okay, so now what is life going to provide for me? What can I do? Will I always need help? Because I did need a lot of help at that time. Number one, I was short. I couldn't reach a lot of things. Now being in a wheelchair, I couldn't reach anything. And, even going to the bathroom, I couldn't even help myself or do that. So for me, it was the first 2 weeks being in the hospital and just thinking to myself, what's the purpose of this? And then it's like a light bulb moment came on for me, that I remember praying about, trying to live a better life. And, I lived from bar to bar to always drinking and a fast pace. And I was trying to get back to my roots, to where I wouldn't live that lifestyle. Prayer came back to me. And that's when I realized, well, this wasn't an accident. This was a prayer answered, because I had asked him a year or so before that to do something to help me change, so I would get back to going to church and be a better person to people, because I just lived for myself, and that was all that mattered. So I have to change my lifestyle, and the wheelchair is what came out of that. So the biggest barrier I would say that I faced was just going to the restroom. Number one, being short. I always had a bowel program problem. I couldn't do it myself. So my mom and my family helped me through that for the first 8 to 10 years, with through prayer and, medication that I was taking, natural pills. I am now able to go bowel movements on my own, which is one of the biggest reasons I'm able to live on my own by myself. So for the things that really got me back to my normal routine where I'm at today, the biggest first thing I did was get my driver's license back, and to be able to drive again and have a vehicle accessible where I can go out and go wherever I want to, when I want to, and not have to depend on someone. That would be the huge thing that got me, okay, I got this, I can do this. It's just in a wheelchair. Modifying my vehicle, I did not get any assistance at the time. My insurance company wouldn't help me with any modifications. So my family and friends helped set up hand controls and a vehicle to where I get to start with. I would just slide into it, and I always had to have help getting in and out. After it was about 2-3 years, somebody had found out that I was in a wheelchair, and they knew of a van that had a ramp on it, and a guy couldn't sell it because it had a very small ramp. to me, that was another God moment to where this work for $2,500. I got this van and I drove it for 5-6 years. And I have taken all the equipment out of that and just kept transferring it to the next vehicle. What I work for now is I drive an Amish guy around as a construction company. That's what I've done since I started driving again. The first 5 years, I had my own taxi service. If you're familiar with the Amish state, they don't have driver's license. They don't drive, so they hire people to do that. I mean, I put anywhere from 200 to 500 miles a day on just all through Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and get to see places that I would never get to see on my own. I also invested in a 35-foot motorhome, which is all accessible, completely accessible. And I take it out to West and take people on trips. And I get 2 weeks vacation. I get paid from work. And I take these people, Amish families, to go see the Western states, and they pay me to do that. So I get to see the states, and it's a great way to travel. For my relationship with family and friends, some went great, some went the other way. For the most part, the people that I thought were some of the greatest friends I had, I never seen them again. For family that I wasn't, always in contact, really stepped up, and they helped in every way they were possible and knew how to. And I made more friends through church and through the community just by the job that I do have by driving. The most surprising accomplishments would be, wow, I own a house that I bought 3 years ago, and to be able to live there by myself, to me, that's reality, that this was a plan and I was able to do it. I've always dreamt of going on a missions trip, going overseas, going on a third world country, but being in a wheelchair, knowing what you need to do, and I can't afford to pay somebody to go with me, so for me, that'd be one of the biggest dreams, just, to travel. If I was on a stage or talking to somebody that just recently had an accident, the biggest thing I would stress about is watch for bed sores. There's a reunion every year here. I think it's Ohio, Pennsylvania, and the surrounding states they call it the handicap gathering. I went to one of them, and to me, that was just basically, it was like an eye-opening. It's like, wow, there's so many different people that have the same injuries or just here, and it gets you on another level with people that have the same disabilities that you have. I think community like that really helps with anybody's goal in life. Would I ever pick being in a wheelchair? No, not in a lifetime. But has it made my life better? I have never had a better fulfilling life since the past 17 years than I have now. So to me, is take what you get and use it for what you have, and don't look at what you don't have. And it may just be that smile or anything that you do, being in a wheelchair and looking at somebody that's walking down the street, you smile at them, they're like, why is he happy? Life is good.